Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 23 of Carole on Tuesday. This is the penultimate episode, the second to last episode of this series, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this, and I'm not ready for whatever's going to happen. Um, and I definitely want to talk about what we are going into. So, Angela's been on a downward spiral and is breaking down. She's fallen into a depression due to not only all the stress that's been on her, but the fact that her mother uh, had a heart attack after getting extremely upset and angry and accidentally revealing that she's not her biological mother. Um, and so Angela got upset, but was still by her side in the hospital, but Dahlia ended up dying after all, which sent Angela even further down the rabbit hole. She's been in depression. She's been taking drugs like they're candy. As I've said, she's joined the desperately in need of a hug club. Someone needs to be there for her to tell her that they just are there, that they're listening, that they're going to just, again, be there. It means so much sometimes for people to just be there for you. She was insistent on continuing to perform for the Grammys, which she won Best New Artist for, we find out, which isn't surprising at all. And she performs but ends up passing out due to, all the stress, the lack of sleep, probably the drugs, I'd wager. And last episode ended on a very heavy note with the ending credits playing while showing Angela from a first-person perspective being wheeled into the hospital. And last time I had kind of talked about how Angela could possibly die and how I don't want that to happen, and especially like this. But at the same time, how it would actually, if they do it right, still be good writing. And hear me out. A death of a beloved character, especially someone who's going through all this kind of shit, can be very effective. It can be very effective, not only emotionally, but in terms of telling an engaging story. And it sucks that a lot of times that's true, but it is. You can tell a really engaging story with killing off characters, especially main characters or noteworthy ones who the audience has fallen in love with or cares about to some degree. I'm not saying that they are definitely going to do this. I'm not saying that Angela is going to die, especially after Dahlia, an already big character, did. But it's possible, is what I'm saying. Honestly, especially with Shinichiro Watanabe being the director. I mean, he fucking killed off Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop at the very end. So it wouldn't surprise me here. But yeah. On the other side of things, Carole and Tuesday themselves are on the up. While Angela started off strong and is starting to face this downward spiral, it's the complete opposite for Carole and Tuesday. They started off having a lot of trouble getting into this industry, but once they did, they started just skyrocketing upward. They started just shooting up in popularity and in just being able to get stuff done, being able to perform at shows. They went from an act that was booed off of stage at this music festival to now performing with the biggest pop singer on Mars at the Grammys. And it's amazing. And it feels natural. The progression from the beginning of the show to now with Carole and Tuesday's character and just how far they've come feels natural. It feels like they've gone through their troubles, but they've also faced good things along the way. And everything has just come naturally thanks to their talent. And yeah, they performed with Crystal at the Grammys and had an amazing performance. And it's the complete opposite situation of Angela. Angela was a child actor who grew up pretty much in the spotlight her entire life. Since, like, I think it was 5. She's always been in the spotlight. She's always been famous, always had this star quality to her. So her becoming a singer and making her way in this industry isn't surprising. It's not surprising, and it's honestly not hard for her to do. And now she's on a downward spiral that's taking her to just these horrible depths. And Carole and Tuesday, like I said, are the opposite. They started off, Carole is an orphan, pretty much. Not like completely, because her father is still alive, though he's kind of absentee because of having been in prison and all. But she like grew up in a camp, and kind of just had to make her way on her own. Tuesday has a family who, aside from her brother, seems to be pretty, like, distant, for lack of a better word. Pretty distant from her. And so she's never really known true love and support. And they came from, even though Tuesday is, you know, technically well off because her mother is, her mother's a politician, they both came from this place of nothing. For Carole, more literally, and for Tuesday, more emotionally. And they made it big. They ended up becoming a big new artist. And that leads to another big question. The Miracle 7 Minutes. Again, as I keep stating, the one point that this show has been building to. Every episode, prior to the intro sequence, we have a little point talking about the Miracle 7 Minutes. It's a big deal. And we don't have any context as to what it's going to mean. We don't have any context as to what is going to happen. The only thing we can infer is that it looks like whatever's going on, they might be at that place they first played at in, like, I think it was the first episode. Yeah, it would have been the first episode. That one concert hall, where Carole first played the grand piano and everything. I think it might be there. But that's really the only thing we have to infer about the Miracle 7 Minutes. We know it's going to change music, the music scene forever. We know that it's going to be this big deal. What's it going to be? I see like a couple different options. One option is it is going to be something really big and important. And in that case, it's not going to just be important to the characters, to the music and everything. It's going to be important to the events of the series. Something's going to happen that's going to really leave an impact. And in that situation, my thought would be it'd have something to do with Angela. Because, again, there's only 2 episodes left, including this one, and Angela is a massive focus right now. So, if the Miracle 7 Minutes are this big event that is going to have some effect with the entirety of the show, with its general core, then it's going to have something to do with Angela. The other option is that it's going to be nothing. That the Miracle 7 Minutes are going to be some kind of small thing that is being completely overblown purposefully in the intro. Or on that same idea, it's going to be overshadowed by what's happening with Angela and presumably Carole and Tuesday, coming to her aid or whatnot. That this Miracle 7 Minute, it's going to happen. It's going to be like maybe a performance or something, but it's going to be a small part of the episodes. And what's really going to be focused on is Carole and Tuesday and Angela as characters, which would be kind of this, in a way, statement on the industry focusing on these performances and these grand moments rather than the people behind them. I could see either option happening, but other than that, I don't really know. I am interested, though. I'm very interested. I'm very excited to see how this ends. I wish it didn't have to end, I've heard some people talk about a possible second season, but I don't think it's going to happen. For multiple reasons, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it needs to happen. I don't think that this show was ever meant to have more than one season. I think it was like a show that was meant to be a one-off thing just to celebrate Studio Bones' anniversary and all. And honestly, why would we want a second season? This show is entirely about Carole and Tuesday getting there, getting to the top, rising in fame and popularity and skill until they eventually make it in the music industry. That's what this show's about. And that's pretty much how it's ending. We can already tell that it's ending with them making it. They just performed with Crystal at the Mars Grammys. They're making it. We don't need to go past that. We don't need to go into the rest of their career. It would be cool. It would be fine. I'd be cool with it, but we don't need to, and I don't think they're going to. Plus, with all of this with Angela and everything as well, it seems like this was meant for one season. Just a single story being told over the course of 24 episodes. And I think that's good. I think that's something we need more of. We don't need shows. I have no problem with shows that go on and on, but we don't need shows that have many, many, many seasons and just keep going on and end up losing what made them special. So many shows do that. And some shows make it work. My Hero Academia makes it work, for example. MLP made it work. But then you have shows like Steven Universe. I know, not anime, but still. You have shows like Steven Universe where it gets to end up being too long to a point where they end up really just dropping the ball. And it's something you don't want to see happen with your favorite shows. So sometimes it's just better to have just a one-off, one-season show. And I think that this is going to be one of them. I would like to see more. I honestly would. I think it would be amazing to see a second season. I don't think it's going to happen. Especially with the low American connections, the wrong word. The low viewership and everything for America because of the Netflix jail situation with it. Because it was locked in Netflix for so long and only half of the season is currently out on Netflix here in America, so many people weren't able or willing to see it beforehand. And because of that, a lot of people lost interest and it's not getting the viewership it deserves. And Netflix themselves aren't really promoting it that well. So it's like everything's kind of working against it in terms of a just overall appeal around the world. Like in Japan, it might be doing fantastically, but they have to look at more than just that when they are having it around the world. If they do make a second season, let's hope Netflix doesn't have the rights to it. Let someone else take care of that. Hopefully they could still get the same voice actors, though, because the VAs for the English dub are good. Especially those of our main leads, Carole and Tuesday. Either way, I've talked way too long about this as it is. You guys just want to see the reaction, so we're going to get on with it. The second to last episode of Carole and Tuesday, let's find out what happens with all three of our main characters. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back into the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. When Angela said that if she died, people would only be sad for a minute, and talked about basically how it wouldn't even be a big deal if she were gone, it really hit me. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. You guys are probably sick of it, but it's something that's been a big part of my life. For those who don't know somehow at this point, back in 2013, I was very suicidal. My depression was at its highest, and I tried, not just thought about, but actively tried to commit suicide on multiple occasions. And that was one of the major things I would constantly tell myself. Nobody would even miss me. Nobody would be sad if I were gone. They might cry for a minute, but they would just move on. It was something I constantly would tell myself. And even after that time, anytime that suicidal thoughts have ever come back to me, that was always one of the just constant lies I told myself. But it is a lie. Years ago now, I lost my uncle. He had very bad health due to various reasons, and he eventually passed. The other year, I lost my grandfather for health reasons as well. And yeah, I've in some ways moved on. I've done stuff. I smile and laugh and have fun on occasion. But that doesn't mean I don't miss them. It doesn't mean that I've moved on from their deaths. It still makes me sad. It still bothers me. And even further back than that, when I was a kid, like middle school years, I had a friend who committed suicide named Mike. He was just a kid, and he felt that the world had just left him behind, that no one cared enough. I know what this feeling is like. But for a long time, I didn't. For a long time, hell, I even resented him for having committed suicide. But once that started to hit me, I understood. I understood the pain he probably was going through. I understood why he felt like no one cared. And so when I see Angela saying these same kind of things, it hits hard personally. It's like, it shows that the people who wrote this understand what it means to have fallen into that deep of a depression, whether they faced it themselves or know others that have, or have just done very good research on it. They understand depression. Angela lost everything. Her career is while it's good, it's damaging her emotionally. Her mother dying, and even before that, finding out her mother isn't even biologically her mother, destroyed her emotionally. The lack of sleep, the drug overdose, she's a wreck. And again, I've been there. I understand. This is why I say that she joined the desperately in need of a hug club. I'm not just making a joke with that. I'm serious. In times of deep depression, you have no idea how helpful, how comforting just a simple hug can be. Something as simple as just someone embracing you is an act of love that matters so much to someone who's going through such pain. Because even if just for a moment, the warmth of that embrace melts the pain away. It's, again, something I've been through. But we know now what these Miracle 7 minutes are going to be. Carole and Tuesday are working with their friends to organize a giant performance, gathering all of the musicians they possibly can, performing it at the Memorial Hall, which is in and of itself a celebration of the immigration to Mars and the overall just inhabitants of the planet. And its importance to these characters and their stories. They're forming this big performance, which presumably is going to last 7 minutes. Everyone's going to be there. And the song they're writing is about mothers. Not just literal mothers, but the feelings, the expression, the belief, the ideology of motherhood. And what it stands for. Angela needs to be there. With what she's been going through, a lot of it stemmed in her relationship with her mother. She needs to be there. She needs to sing this song. And with Tao coming in, I think she's going to. I think she's finally going to be able to do this. I think Tao is finally going to open up. And he's finally going to set things right, even if it means getting arrested. These miracle 7 minutes are going to not only change music forever, but they're going to change the entire planet. Everything has been leading up to this since the very first episode. Carole and Tuesday got their start at that music hall. A rich, just completely well-off Mars native and a poor, emotionally driven immigrant coming together. From the very start, this show has had a very strong message, politically and socially, about accepting each other's differences, about being there for each other no matter who you are, who they are. About just acceptance and love. And because of that, it's no surprise that they would include a lot of LGBTQ plus content in this show. And it's no surprise that they would get into modern day political commentary with the immigration issue. It's no surprise because it all links up. It's all important. This show truly is something special. Not just because of the messages it's trying to tell, not just because of the general overall quality of its writing, its characters, its art, its animation, its music, its voice acting. The thing that really makes this show special is the care put into it. Is the life and love that it strives to spread. Of the fact that it's telling us that there's nothing more important in this world than love and sticking to your beliefs. Being passionate and caring and just being there for each other are very heavy common themes in the entirety of this show. And I hope that more people do end up seeing this. I hope that it does start to get the attention it deserves. And I hope the final episode is not only something special, but life-changing. Because this is easily my favorite anime. And I could very well see this. I could very well see myself next week proclaiming this as my favorite show of all time. Taking the spot that Legend of Korra has held in my heart since 2014. Not replacing it necessarily, because I still love Korra. but just taking the #1 spot. I could very well see that happening. We just have to see where it's going to go. And as I've said before, whether or not Carole and Tuesday get together in the end, honestly, at this point, is unimportant. Would I love to see it? Oh, hell yeah. I ship the hell out of them. And there's a lot in this show that really kind of gives precedence to that. There's a lot of shipping fuel, let's say that. But as I've said before, and I really want to hammer that in now, even if they don't, this show has still done more than it needed to with its representation. Even if Carole and Tuesday don't get together, this show has still made an impact with its characters and stories. Whether they get together or not, as long as it ends well, that's all that matters. And if they do get together, then awesome. And if they don't, this has been one hell of a ride anyway. And I wouldn't change it for the world. This show means so much to me. And in just over a month now, at Youmacon, I'm going to get to meet Brianna Knickerbocker, the English dub voice of Tuesday, my favorite character. In such a short amount of time, this show has just become something, like I said, special. When I first saw the trailer, when I first saw that short little trailer of this, my thoughts were, oh, this actually looks really good. This could actually be something fun. I had no idea where it was going to go. I had no idea it was going to be this good. And now, after all of this time, it's become something phenomenal, breathtaking, stunning. It's become something that has gone from something I just thought looked interesting to a show that has truly impacted me. I always like to say that I hope every show I watch gives me these kind of feelings. That every show I watch is that good. And I know not everyone will be. In fact, I know most won't be that good. But I always hope for that. I always want that. No matter what the show is, no matter if it's anime or cartoon or even live action, whenever I watch a show, I always want it to be the absolute best it can possibly be. I want it to become my new favorite show of all time. I want it to impress me enough to where it's just that important to me. And Carole and Tuesday has surpassed all expectations with that. I want more people to see this show. I want this to get the attention it deserves. We have shows out there like Dr. Stone and Fire Force and whatever, getting all of this huge attention from the wider anime community while being super generic and just the same old stuff you've always seen from those kind of shows. And then you have a show like this, Carole and Tuesday, that is like nothing I've ever seen before. In anime, in cartoons, in anything. It's unlike anything I've seen before. And it's getting no attention. There are definitely fans of it. And there are definitely people who've watched it since it came to Netflix. But overall, it's heavily ignored. Or as the online community would often say, it's being slept on. And it's really sad that such a great show is being ignored like this. That it's not getting enough attention and praise. I think the only big name anime YouTuber I've seen talk about it was Giguk. And that was only when the first episode initially aired, when he did his, I think that was that spring, yeah, I think that was the spring 2019 video. When he did that and he had watched the first episode, he talked about it in that video. And I think that's the only time any big anime YouTubers talked about it. And it's sad. It's a show that needs so much more attention and so much more people talking about it. And not just because I want more fan art. It's important. I feel like next week I will be saying that. That next week I will be saying that this is my new favorite show of all time. Because honestly, I have no reason to believe the last episode will be anything but perfection. I have no reason to believe that the last episode will be anything but absolutely stunningly phenomenal. I think that this final performance, these miracle 7 minutes, are going to be what does it. That this is going to be the defining moment for this show. A show that's already had multiple defining moments. There are 2 real moments that speak to what this show is about so far. And they are perfectly paced apart. The first is at the very beginning. It's the moment that Giguk talks about in his video. When Carole and Tuesday are just fumbling over that music together, trying to figure out a song, and then it just clicks. And like that, it's sold. The second defining moment was in the middle of the show. When in the finals of the Mars Brightest competition, Carole and Tuesday performed that same song, The Loneliest Girl, in what is still, in my opinion, the most beautiful moment of the series so far. And the miracle 7 minutes, obviously, it's going to be the third big defining moment. And not that there weren't other great moments throughout the series. There were a lot of them. Pretty much every single episode had at least one. But the miracle 7 minutes, this massive performance, that's definitely going to be the third defining moment for the show. And with the possibility and honestly probability of Angela performing with them and the meaningfulness of the song, the possibility of so many fucking tears, it could be the moment that really speaks to the quality of the show as it wraps everything up. We have one more episode to go. And I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this to end. But even when it does, you know, it's that special, that important to me. That'll it'll always leave an impact, and I'll watch it again and again and again. At the same time, even though I'm not ready for it to be over, I can't wait for this final episode. It's truly gonna be so meaningful, so important, so special. And easily one of the best things I have ever reacted to. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you want to check out any of my social media links and more, please check them out over to the side. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave those down below. In the meantime, though, thank you so much once again for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.